Nice to see all these people populating in here.
I know, this is nice. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. You see that there are polls that are popping up. So please answer the polls, and we are recording. And we'll get started in just a minute or two. Let you have some time to log in. Finish the polls. In the chat, there is the link to the handouts. When you registered, you also were on the distribution list to get the handouts, but if you haven't had time or need to get it today, please click on the link in chat and you will find the PowerPoint and the handout.
Yeah, you'll see I will post that link several times during our meeting here today, just because as people join a little bit later, they're not able to see previous postings.
Awesome. Good morning, Jill, my neighbor, who lives like a mile away. It's good to see you. As you're logging in, if you could just put your role, type your role in chat so we know. I know we ask you in the poll, but if you could let us know if you're a family, if you're a parent, a sibling, a grandparent, if you're an SSA, if you work in school, the transition. Awesome, awesome. Love it, love it. And thank you for identifying that you are both, that you have multiple roles. Our polls, the data we have to report wants us to keep family and professionals separate, and we know that many of us play multiple roles in our lives. So thank you for letting us know. And I will make sure, Tracy, please make sure you send me the chat so I can see the roles. And I'm just watching a lot of SSAs, parent mentors, families, family members, sibling, yay. Very, very nice. So thank you very much. Again, welcome this morning. My name is Barb Safiris, and Tracy and I will be sharing information about the one-page person-centered description. Please make sure you have gotten the PowerPoint. The link to the handouts is in chat, and I will ask Tracy to introduce herself.
Certainly. I am Tracy Manns. I run the Family Resource Network of Ohio as the project manager. I'm also the lead parent facilitator and project manager for Aspirations Ohio, which is for teens and adults on the autism spectrum. I am a Charting the Life Course Ohio ambassador. And most importantly, I am the parent to Trey, who you'll meet a little bit later today, who is my 25-year-old son with autism.
Awesome. Thank you, Tracy. And good morning, everybody. My name is Barb Safiris. I am a sibling. I had two brothers with disabilities, Nick with a developmental disability before age 22, and Jim with an acquired disability in his 30s as a result of an accident that affected his ability to earn a living and get through his day. I retired from the Cuyahoga County Board of DD. I had a variety of roles. My professional training was as a speech language pathologist. I was an SSA, had some administrative roles, started my paid life as a sub DSP in residential and school. I actually was a teacher, and a variety of roles throughout my life, including a family caregiver, not paid. So today we're here to talk about the one-page person-centered description. We'll talk about what it is, why it's so important, why Tracy and I are both passionate about the one pages, because we've seen the impact and the power that it has in people's lives. It is not the same as the introduction page on the OISP. I'm going to say that multiple times. It is a single page. There is a reason why it is one page, and that is because people will read one page and they will not read a 8 to 80 page ISP or a 30-page IEP, but they will read one piece of paper. The trainings that we do in Ohio are provided by the Family Resource Network of Ohio. Tracy is the program manager, and the website is listed on the slide. We hope that you will go to that website, and when you go on the website, it asks if you want to sign up. Please sign up. The trainings that we provide are without cost because of the very generous funding from DODD, the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities. So please sign up. We probably do, I would say, 2 to 10 trainings a month. So please, please, please sign up to see which ones you feel will support you to support and empower your families, or help you do your jobs.
And I wanted to announce to everybody that we redesigned. If you've been to the website before, that's wonderful, but please check it out again, because we just launched today our new redesigned version. I think you'll like it. And I want to be sure and welcome Janine and all of your students. We're glad you guys are here too. Thank you for the note in chat.
I did not see that. I am so glad. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, awesome, Janine. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Like I said, I need to read the chat after the call. Thank you, Tracy. I saw the draft and I didn't realize it went live today. So thanks for sharing
You're
that.
welcome.
Great. So why is DODD so supportive? Why are we preparing and presenting and sharing information about Charting the Life course? We want everyone in Ohio to know about this. And if we can support people nationally, we're happy to do that. So welcome, Kansas. But we want everybody to understand this, to use the principles and the tools, and we want to build a common understanding. For those of you that have been in the field, for me as a family member, you know how often we change the language in the plans and in the services and in the assessments. We want everybody to know what we're talking about. The core concept of Charting the Life course is we want everyone has the right to live, love, work, play, learn, and pursue their life aspirations in their community. We have 8 guiding principles. First of all, Charting the Life course is for everyone, across abilities, across lifespan. We recognize the importance of family. We know that it's important to have a vision of a good life and to work towards those outcomes. We look at a holistic approach to life, looking at quality of life, not necessarily skills. And we know that we all have needs for support in 3 buckets: to have information, to know about what's available to help us, goods and services, and to connect with others that have similar life experiences. And we know it's important to not just receive supports from family, or not just receive supports from the system, but to really look at integrated supports. And of course, we want people and families to be involved in policy and system change, not to just be updated, but to actually be part of the development. So for me, the one page is so critical because of the power of the words we use. You know, we as families have learned how to talk about our loved ones to make them eligible for supports. And what we want to talk about with the one page is, we know that the words we use convey our values and beliefs. And we want to start talking about the people we love and the people we support in a human-centric way. So we don't want to talk about what they can't do. How demoralizing is that? We don't want to talk about how needy they might be. And my brother Nick would be someone in the jargon of the profession would be total support. He needed to be fed, he needed to be dressed, he needed to be toileted, he needed to be changed, he needed to be positioned, total support. But that's not who he was. We want to talk about people being interdependent, and we want to talk about support, not needs, because we all need support. But when we talk about needs, we make people sound like they have deficits or they're not as good. So we sent you a template for the one-page person-centered description. There are two on the page. On the left is a one-page person-centered template that just has the 3 sections. On the right, there's a box on the top right for a photo. So again, this is not the same as that introductions page on the Ohio Individual Service Plan, or OISP. It is different. It was developed for a different purpose. The one-page person-centered description has probably been in use for about 15 years. So it is not new. There are 3 sections, and the 3 sections, I'll go into each of them. I strongly suggest that you include a photo, and I tell people, do not worry about using the template. If you want to use the template, go ahead and use it. But you can also just use a Word doc. It doesn't have to be fancy. It has to be simple, meaningful, and easy to read. So the first section is like and admire. I told you this is about being human-centric. So we want to talk about who the person is, not what they do. So what are their qualities? And I will tell you, this is a difficult section for people with disabilities to reflect on because they haven't heard a lot of this. They've been told what they can't do. They've been told about the help they need. But when you ask them, what do people love about you? I ask families, what do you love about your family member? What do people like and admire? They do not self-identify qualities. So we may have to help them. So people often tell me what they do. I'm in Special Olympics. I said, that's great. What are the qualities? What's inside of you that drives you to want to be in Special Olympics? Are you competitive? Are you athletic? Are you social? A gentleman told me he has a job. He makes flyers for a nonprofit and their social media. And he goes, that's what people like about me. I said, that's what you do. But what's inside of you that helps you make these flyers? Are you creative? And he went, oh, yes, I am. I'm creative. I said, are you artistic? He said, oh, yes, I am. So we may have to give people, we may have to help them identify those qualities. So what I want you to do, here's a list of qualities from Dr. Google. Type in chat, maybe 1 or 2 qualities that people like about you. And I'll let you have a minute or so and just share. What do people say? Boy, you are so what?
And I know this can be uncomfortable for people. We're taught not to sort of brag on ourselves, right? But go ahead and put those things in there, like Barb said, all the things that you know that you are and that people say about you.
And I love what you've typed: thoughtful, dependable, organized, resourceful, kind, honest and caring, helpful and polite, good listener, dependable, organized, courageous. Oh, you guys are awesome. Funny, yay. Very, very, oh, thank you for sharing. Thank you
When
for
you're
sharing.
patient, maybe I can call you. You can teach me how to be that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thanks, everybody. the second section is what's important to me. And those are not likes and preferences. Those are things that if they were not present in your life, it would impact your quality of life. So Tracy and I just came back from a national conference in Missouri. And I tease people and tell them my morning coffee is very important to me, not Starbucks, not what's in the hotel room, not Dunkin' Donuts, not McDonald's, the coffee that I make from home. And so in my suitcase, I packed my 4-cup coffee maker, my coffee grounds, and my filter, and my little thermal little one so that it would fit. That's important to me. I like Diet Pop. I prefer Diet Coke, but it is not important to me. For decades, we have asked people, what are your likes and preferences? That's low. Important to is much, much higher, will impact quality of life. There are typically 8 things to consider, and I want you to take a minute and type in chat what's important to you that if you did not have it, it would impact your quality of life. We don't want generic answers, so we don't want friends and family. I don't know what that means. And if I'm supporting someone, I have no idea what to make sure happens. But if somebody says, it's important to me to have Sunday brunch together as a family. It's important to me that we have dinner with no electronics. It's important to me to have time with each of my children. They have a, mom time with just me. It's important to me to go to church. It's important to me whatever. These are the 8 categories. And when we're talking with people, we want to get the details. So I asked one woman, what's important to you? And she said, my friends and family. And I said, what about your friends? What do you like to do with your friends? And she goes, oh, I go out to dinner with my girlfriends once a month. That's what's important to you. I asked her about her family, and she said, I like alone time with mom and dad, just mom and dad, not her siblings. I loved it. And we play games. I said, so if I'm supporting her, I now know what has to happen if she needs support. Status and control. People will often tell me having my own key to my own place, having an ID card, having my own money. Things to do and places to go. This is what we usually hear people share. The Holy Trinity, going to McDonald's, going to Walmart, and going bowling. And that just tells me what they do. It doesn't tell me if it's really important to them. Rituals and routines, are there certain things that people have to do on the weekend or when they come home from wherever they are during the day? Think about your own rituals and routines. Do you take off your shoes? Do you go and put on comfortable clothes? Last week we had to be, I'll speak for myself. I had to be dressed up every single day. And so when I got home, those clothes went in the wash and the comfortable clothes came out. I was professional and now I was ready to be comfortable. Rhythm and pace of life. Are you a morning person? Are you a night person? Things to have, my smartwatch, my water bottle. Purpose and meaning. Usually when I ask people, they share whatever they do to help others. I help my mom around the house. I help other people at my day program. I help my boss. And think about that. Let's teach people the value they have and what they give to others. And then culture and identity. A lot of you who know me know I'm Greek American. I heard a speaker at this conference last week, and I'm sitting there going, I think that's a Greek name. I hunted her down. And when she looked and when I found her, I said, Nicolette, and she goes, you're Greek? I said, yeah. She goes, when I heard your name, I thought you were Greek. And we walked across the conference hall speaking Greek, and her coworker said, oh, you guys finally found each other. Did you connect? And Nicolette said, we already had a conversation in Greek, so we're good. But that is important to me, my culture, my identity as a sibling. My identity as an older woman My identity as a female, my identity as a mentor trainer, my identity as an Ohio ambassador. I have many identities, and what they are all important to me. So you've typed in chat already. I appreciate it. I'm going to keep us moving. So I'll look at what you've typed in a minute, but I hope that I'm looking. Oh, good. Oh, I love it. Have dinner with my family, going out to the garden. Yes. Oh, awesome. Your comfort items, your puppy, stuffed animal. Yes, very, very good. Thank you. Tea and a good book. I wish I had time for tea and a good book. Okay, I have to make time. And then how to best support is not defining what people cannot do, but actually a to-do list of what other people need to do. So one woman in Miami County wrote a one-page person-centered description for her boss, her employer. And she said, when you teach me something new, tell me, show me, watch me, and then tell me how I did. Don't tell me what to do, give me choices. A mother of a son under 10, I can't remember how old he was, 7, 8, I can't remember. You know, he's got sensitivity to noise. Well, that's great. What am I supposed to do? Remind me to wear headphones. Don't talk to me like a child. So think about at work. What would you want your coworker or supervisor to know about supporting you? An SSA once said, she did her one page, a department did this as an activity of team building. They each wrote their own one page and they shared it with each other and with their supervisor. And the one thing she wrote for her supervisor was, don't schedule meetings with me in the morning. I think better in the afternoon. Another one wrote, don't come up to me during the day and say, come see me before you leave, because that will put me into panic mode. I'll be like the whole day going, oh my God, what did I do? What is she going to talk to me about? What didn't I do? So be pretty real. For me, what I want people to do to support me is be on time. I hate when people are late. It really, because, and I, you know, I sit there and I go, okay, you're late. There's 10 of us. You were late 5 or 10 minutes. We now have lost 50 to 100 man minutes because we've been waiting for you. So it makes me crazy, So type in chat what people need to do. You can write a one-page person-centered description for anything. So this is me as a trainer. You know, what people like is I'm knowledgeable, I'm passionate. What's important to me is that I am prepared, and how to best support me. Ask questions, be engaged. So I truly appreciate that on a Zoom call at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, you all are typing in chat and engaged. So I truly appreciate you and your commitment and engagement. But I also developed a one page for my own wellness. I was a care partner, and I realized that I really needed to think about what I needed to do to take care of myself so I could take care of my partner. And so this is another way. I've often shared this with families and said, you know, being a family member is hard work. Providing support is hard work. Providing care. And so think about your one page, what can other people do to support you? And under how to best support me, don't tell me you should, you need to, or have you tried? I'm not stupid. And ask me what would be helpful. Ask me if it's a good time. And for what was important to me, and I defined our relationship as care partner. I once heard a wife talk about her wife, who is a well-known pastor in Cleveland, who's experiencing dementia. And I love the fact that she didn't say I am a caregiver or a caretaker, but I am a care partner, because it is reciprocal. So that's why I use the term care partner. Another way, did I share this with anybody? No, but writing it down gave me clarity about what I needed to do to take care of myself, and to turn around and say to others, you know what would be helpful if you did this. So we are going to put you in breakout rooms, but let me give you, we're going to put you in groups of 4. And I just want you to introduce yourself very quickly. So my introduction would be, hi, I'm Barb Safaris. I'm an independent contractor. What people like about me is that I'm knowledgeable and passionate. What's important to me is to have time alone, that when I train, people engage, and what other people need to do is be on time and participate. That took me less than a minute. So 4 people, we're going to give you 6 minutes in a breakout room, and introduce yourselves, and then we'll have you come back. Thanks.
Is this my group?
Hi, Diane. No,
Hi.
I'm not seeing.
I don't know what happened.
I don't either. And it's not showing you as not in a room. So that's weird.
I was in room 11 and then I jumped out. I don't know what happened.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can drop you into another one. Give me just
Okay.
a moment. There she is. Let's move you to room 12 and that'll get you in there. Thanks. Thank you to everyone who sent messages about not being able to get into breakout rooms. I completely understand. Just hang out here with me, no problem. Sorry, Barbara, I forgot to click the button not to send you to a room.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
I met some people and had some
Good.
good conversation, so it's all good. Thank you.
You're welcome. I have room 6 with nobody talking,
Okay.
and also room 1
All right.
and room 7
Okay.
and room 13. This is interesting.
This is very interesting.
And
And
room 18. And Itara's in that one.
okay, where's the the breakouts. I'm trying to see well, let's see. How much time do they have left?
2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Let's give them can you give them a 1 minute warning?
Sure. Right now, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
let's just do it since
All
people
right.
are. Okay. And people are back? Oh, they're just still coming.
28 more seconds.
Okay. Yeah, are we back?
4, 3, 2, 1. Here they are.
Okay, great. Oh, there's lots, 71. Okay, all right, welcome back. So before we sent you to breakout rooms, Tracy said this could be very uncomfortable to talk about yourself. And yet we ask you to do this. Why? Because if you're turning around and asking others on their OISP, what's important to you, or their IEP, what do you want? What's your vision? We should not be asking other people unless we do this on ourselves, so we see what it is like. And so thank you for going into the breakout rooms. For those of you that participated, we appreciate that you did it and that you did maybe experience that discomfort. But think about what families and people with lived experience think about whenever we're asked questions and have to answer them on Johnny on the spot. We're not given time to think. So 1-page person-centered description. Whenever you write one, there's got to be a purpose, because I hope you see that it could look different. It could look different if you're going to school. It could look different if you're writing it for a job. We want it to be 1 page because everybody will read 1 page. And if we write it and put it in a file, it's really not being used. Why did we write it? It was just an exercise in futility. So we want this to be a document that's used. We're going to share some. Here's one for my brother that's just a general introduction. Things to note, it's a Word doc. Okay, it's not a template. There's a photo. He picked the photo. It says Nick the Greek. It doesn't say Nick Safaris because he liked to be called Nick the Greek. Under great things about him, you see some qualities. The number one thing my mother always said, he was ornery. Important too, you see people in relationships, things to do, places to go, culture and identity. Okay. Under how to best support, you see that it's in quotes. Why is it in quotes? Because he said it. Please, please, please do not use the pronoun I in a plan if the person did not say it. Otherwise, you are committing libel. And if the person said it, write it in quotes, because then people reading the plan know that the person said it. I'm going to ask Tracy to share trays.
Yeah, I love this. So I asked Trey if he wanted to do one of these, and he said, nah, he didn't think he did. So I said, okay, I think I'll sit down and write what I know about you. And after he was standing over my shoulder, looking at me write all these good things about him, he joined right in. And he started helping, and this became his one page. So if you're looking for hints and tips, that was a great way to get it started. And when you look at what people appreciate about him, these are his words. I have a kind and loving heart. I'm eager to be helpful. When I'm passionate about a subject, my joy is evident. And under the important things listed to him, I love that, he listed his family, and then he said who we were and his kitty and what the kitty's name is. So people know him when they look at this. His video games, we didn't just say video games. I said, which ones? What's important to you today? He told me. He talks about the foods. Trey likes junk food. Mom tries to eat healthy. So now that he's got this job, because we did make this for work, he can stop at the store and buy all the crap that he likes to eat. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but to him, it's a good thing, And so I won't go through everything on his list, but he impressed me with it. And then the last thing he added was his future / his job, which was a shock to me because I sort of felt like I was really pushing him to work. And lo and behold, it had become important to him over time. And then when it came to how to best support me, I love this because this was going to the people he worked with. Understand that he's literal. Don't speak to him in euphemisms. Don't say things like hit the road. What does that mean? To him, he's picturing somebody out there punching a road. It makes no sense. To be patient. He responds better to praise and criticism than criticism, excuse me. This one I really like. There was actually two that I thought were so important. If I get upset, reassure me, talk with me, and give me time to calm down. And that writing things down for him helps keep him calm and organized. And I think the thing that hit me the most was just help him know that things will get better. Because sometimes when things go wrong for him, it feels like it's the end of the world. And that's what his supervisors and people can do for him. He took it to work, he gave it to his direct supervisors, and we asked that they put a copy on file in his personnel file, just so we have record that we told him, that sort of thing. Thank you, Barb.
Thank you. Think about the power of this one page. Think about DSPs. We typically give them information like he may get upset. A big deal. He gets upset. What am I supposed to do? And think about that sentence. If I get upset, reassure me, talk with me, and give me time to calm down. It is very clear. So a DSP, a direct support professional, a teacher, anybody, an employer, they have the strategy, not just the description. For those of you that work with students, you know that kids in transition, 14 to 22, part of transition planning is supporting students to identify the accommodations they need to be successful. Trey has done this under How to Best Support Me. It is very clear. And we're always concerned about, well, the staff don't follow through. Well, if all we say is he gets upset, that isn't really giving them functional, practical information. But How to Best Support Me is written what you need to do, not describing what I might do. So think about this and how important it might be for someone to have many one-page person-centered descriptions based on the environment they're in. It's going to be different for school. If someone's going to summer camp, it's going to be different. It's going to be different if you go to a doctor's appointment or in the hospital. I wanted to show you, I'm not going to read them, but I just want to show you that the one page can be used across the lifespan, regardless of abilities. So here's one for Maxwell, who's only 3 months old. Mom was returning to work and she wrote this for the daycare provider. Here is Max as a little older. And so again, she broke it down because now we learned a little bit more how to support him with sleep, how to support him with eating, other ways to support, and what's important to mommy and daddy. Please note, it is one page. Too often, we as families want to do a brain dump. We want to tell everybody everything. It's like, that's great, but people don't need all the information, or it may be somewhere else. This is one page. Here's one for Liam for medical appointments only. So how to best support. Let me feel the stethoscope, touch me where you're going to do things so I know. Again, it's going to be different for everybody because it is person-centered. It is not a form. I love this one. Tyler's parents did this. I bet I don't even have to give you 3 guesses how to start initiating a conversation with Tyler. You don't need to read it. You just start talking about dinosaurs, right? Here's Tammy's. You see that Tammy uses event, but you also see that this is like the introduction page to her plan. So here's a quick picture, and then you can get more information on the pages. Please, please, please remember that there's got to be a purpose. It's not a general sheet that's part of the ISP that gets put in the file because it has no value. Who's going to read it? People who receive services that I have helped write their one page. One woman told me she puts it in a frame and she puts it on the wall, and she has her own apartment. When a new staff comes in to help her, she tells them, don't talk to me till you read my one page. Some families post it on the refrigerator so everybody can see it, because emergency medical technicians have learned, look on the fridge because that's where people put stuff. Some people have put it by the door so the people walking in the house immediately know. We had one dad wrote one for his 3-year-old child who had just been diagnosed on the spectrum, and they were going to go to a family reunion, and he and his wife wrote it and emailed it to all the family. So they knew when they saw this 3-year-old that he liked the purple guy. Oh my God.
Barney.
Thank you. Barney, thank you. And Thomas the Tank. And if he kicks a ball to you, he wants to play kick it back or throw it back. And so people were not afraid. They weren't like, oh, he's on the spectrum. What am I supposed to do? So please, 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 it's written for a purpose. I tell people keep multiple copies, use a photograph. And
Can I pop in about the photograph real quick?
Sure.
So I want to say, I really feel like the photograph, whenever possible, is super important, because it's sort of words on a page otherwise. And when you have a photograph on there, it really makes it about that person. So again, that's just my personal opinion, but when we look at them and we hear people share about them, I just really feel like that photo makes a big difference. Thanks, Barb.
Thank you. It's critical. The first time I was asked to share a photo of Nick, I was on a nonprofit board in Cleveland of a nonprofit agency that had helped us. And we were going to be talking to, actually, I was on a consumer board, and we were being asked to talk to the big board. So doctors that supported kids with disabilities, legislators, sports, members of the Cavs and the Browns, and, people who brought money to this nonprofit. And we were told, bring a photo. And we all were like, the families were like, what? And I remember passing a photo around of Jim, Nick, and I, and the doctor who was the pediatrician that treated all these kids with disabilities said, oh my God, he looks happy. And I looked at him and I said, well, he better, because he's with me. And the power of the picture just was like, oh my gosh. So just a few things. Remember to keep it simple. Focus on what people need to know that are going to be reading it. Keep several copies for hospitalization. I tell people, put it above the bed, post it. And think about what's needed in the hospital. So what's important to people when they're in the hospital? Is it that we leave the TV on? Is it that they have a comfort item? Is it that they have their cell phone within reach or their iPad? And then what other people need to do when they walk in the door? Again, this is Nick's. It's a Word doc, But now use a spoon to feed me. I can hear and understand you. Don't yell. Ask me yes, no questions. Because he couldn't use his laptop with voice output when he was in the hospital. They couldn't position it right. So ask me yes, no questions. I'll nod or move my eyebrows. And I can't feel pain on my right side because what does everybody who walks in the room ask? What's your pain level? 0 to 10. So think about the environment and what the person needs. Tracy?
Yes. So here's a great example of doing one on the fly. My daughter is a nurse, a 40-year-old, I should say she's in a PCU unit. So she is just one step down from ICU. And a 40-year-old nonverbal autistic woman came up to her floor. She had taken a fall and she had knocked out all of her front teeth, broken her nose, broken her eye socket. Her parents were 2 hours away and she had a very exhausted caregiver with her because of course this fall happened when she was at the end of her shift. This woman had come up from the emergency room. She had been given no pain meds. She had been given a large dose of ketamine. She was zipped into a confining bed. She was not cleaned up and she had not a stitch of clothing on her. I should also add to this that what she had was a 3-ring binder that was full of care instructions that had been tossed at the bottom of the bed. Of course, nobody in the ER opened that up and they weren't going to look at it up on the floor either. Tara took one look at that and she said, called me. She left the room, she came out, she called me and she said, I know you have something. You have something that can help with that charting the life course stuff. And I said, I absolutely do. I sent her that 1-page person-centered description. I gave her a 5-minute down and dirty on how to do it. And she went back in there and she talked with that patient and caregiver. And when I say she talked with that patient, just like Barb said, you can communicate with people whether they're verbal or not. And they discussed all the different portions, like and admire, important to, and how to best support her. But they did it like this. First of all, why has she not been given any pain meds? And they said, well, down at the ER, she couldn't answer on the scale of 1 to 10 what her pain level was. To which we're all going, are you kidding me? You know she's in pain. But Tara said, okay, caregiver, what does pain usually look like for her? How does this manifest? And they were able to work together and come up with that number. That information went on that 1 page. What does pain look like for her? They talked about, why is she zipped into this confining bed? Well, she was zipped in there because she kept trying to get up and leave. And well, why? Caregiver says, well, the only time she actually sleeps in a bed is when she's in the hospital. Tara said, well, what does she sleep in when she's at home? She's more comfortable in a reclining chair. Out went that bed and let's get a recliner in here. No problem. So now she's had pain meds. She's into something she's more comfortable in. Next question, let's address, why is she naked? What's going on here? And they said, she had a hospital gown on. And you know, when you lay in a bed, that hospital gown can get tied up around your neck because it ties back here and whatnot. She kept pulling it off. So Tara said, what does she sleep in at home? What does she wear? And they said, well, she wears baggy pants and a sweatshirt. So we went and got her some scrubs. The caregiver just happened to grab a sweatshirt on the way out the door. They had that and lose the gown. Let's put this on. They got her dressed in both of those. So they also took just a minute and said, what does she want on the TV? Does she want it on? Does she want it off? Does she want books? What does she need? Tell me more about her as a person. And they put together this 1 page and they put the paper on the wall above her bed so that anybody came in the room to talk to her had that information. And here's what happens. A nurse hearing that a person is a 40-year-old nonverbal autistic, that means nothing. That means nothing to them. They learned about her. They learned about her preferences and they could give her better care. She was happier. They were happier. The caregiver was able to step out of the room and get some food. She was afraid to leave. She could get some food, get a cup of coffee, take a minute for herself. Then as I said, the nursing staff felt better equipped to provide care. But the next morning when the doctors rounded, one of the doctors stood there and read that. And he turned and he said, why don't we have this for everyone? I have all the medical information I need to know in the chart. This tells me about her. I could use this for all of my patients. And I will tell you that after the patient was discharged, the caregiver that was with her did reach back out to my daughter and said, can I have copies of that? Is that copyrighted? Can I have it? Because we're going to do one of these for all of our clients, because you never know when an emergency is going to happen. Yeah,
That's
it made all the
awesome.
difference.
That's awesome. So I just want to address, both Tracy and I have been involved with groups of medical professionals, and what they have said to me, and including my brother's physicians, is, you know, we get about this much information about developmental disabilities. And we may have, I actually was part of a group that works with the Cleveland Clinic, and they actually did a data analysis, and the doctors maybe have one patient in their career at the Cleveland Clinic with a developmental disability. So we cannot say they need to know how to support our loved ones or the people we support. It is incumbent on us as family, as professionals, to give them information so that they can treat the person, not just whatever's taking them to the hospital. And they know who the person is. And no doctor has said to me, oh, this is stupid, don't tell me this. It has been, okay, now I have a better understanding. I can do my job better. I can interact with the patient better. Please don't think this is just about developmental disabilities. If any of you have older parents, if any of you have any other family members, when we are in pain and in trauma, you know, I was in a bad car accident. I know my decision-making was not great at that moment. I know that I could not tell them everything. And just think about how this is helpful for all people, not just people with developmental disabilities.
As an example, my daughter and I sat this weekend. I don't have it ready for sharing yet, and she's pregnant. She's going to have a baby in June or July. They say July. I think she's going early, but nonetheless, we sat and we made a one-page for her talking about all of these things. She doesn't have a developmental disability. This is for her hospital stay, so that anybody that comes into that room understands what's important to her regarding this birth, and how we can support her through. So cute. I love it.
It is awesome. It is awesome. So yeah, think about the possibilities, truly are endless. And I mentioned camp because we're coming up on summer. You know, our kids going to camp and they're going to have somebody who doesn't know them. Parents have written them for kids going to youth groups at their church or temple because it's written for that specific situation. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you. Oh, I was going to say, I know some providers of day services and residential supports have, you know, you have your emergency medical form, you know, the guardian, the meds, the doctors, blah, 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 blah. But they staple the one page to the emergency medical so that when they are transported, whoever is going to support them has all the emergency info, but also who is this person? I'm going to share quickly some examples. You know, this came out of the importance for having one for healthcare, obviously came when COVID hit and families were not allowed to be with their loved ones. And so all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But I've also sat at the bedside of both of my brothers, my mother, my partner, and you know that those doctors come in when you go to the bathroom, or you go to get a cup of coffee. So you could be there the whole time and you walk out for 5 minutes and that's all the doctor does, comes in, does a quick check and leaves. So the importance of having something written and available to support people. Here I'm not going to read it to you, but this, you know, none of these people, Sam has a hearing impairment, but because he's older, but you know, these are his daughters. So here's who you call, here's the phone number. And when you're giving him some treatments, distract him by talking about birds or growing plants. Here's Martin's. Martin's receives supports not only from the DD system, but also the mental health Make sure his phone is charged. If he's upset, ask him if he wants to talk to Mario, because Mario knows how to support him. Ask, don't order. For Jim, he wrote this, so that's why it says, I am kind, I make everyone feel welcome. I'm a smoker, I may need a nicotine patch. I just had all my teeth pulled, so I need soft foods. Be honest when you talk to me. So what we want to see is that people, professionals, families, use a one-page person-centered description, that it is human-centric about this person we love or that we like, that we're supporting. It talks about who the human being is, not what made them eligible for services. And it talks about what we need to do, not what they can't do. So it truly is support-based, not need-based. People can have several, and I encourage people, think about it. I worked with one mom who said, I did one, I want to send it to you. She sent me a 3-page single typed one-page description. And I was like, okay. I said, who'd you write this for? And she goes, what do you mean? I said, what's the purpose? This is not just rewriting the IEP, because he's a teenager. And she said, he's going to start going to a youth group at church. And I said, okay, why do you have his medications listed? Is he going to take medication at the youth group? She said, no, I'm going to give it to him. I said, okay, why is every doctor listed? Are they taking him to the doctor? And she said, no, I take him to the doctor. I said, okay, why is he going to the youth group? And she goes, because I want him to interact with other kids his age. I said, okay, what do they need to know? If what you want is for him to interact, what does that, that youth worker, who probably is a volunteer at the church, having volunteered with youth groups, you don't get paid. What do they need to know? And she goes, don't ask him if he wants to do something. Say to him, hey, let's go see what they're doing over there. Or let's go do that. Don't ask, because if you ask, the answer is always going to be no. So I said, that's what they need to know, not his medications, they do need to know, though, when to call 911. So is there anything they need to look at or be aware of? And she said, oh, if he does this, they should call me. I said, okay, write that down. At this conference we were at last week, one of the women that I was eating with said, oh, I have to have gluten-free. And I don't know if this has gluten in it. And I said, what do I need to be aware of? Do I need to watch you for any signs? And she goes, no. It's not that bad. I'm trying gluten-free. The doctor suggested it. I said, oh, okay. Because I was like, tell me what I need to look for. If something happens, what do I need to do? What we don't want is people use it as a demographic. What we don't want is people put important for, because that's what other people say. What we don't want is to see it being very disability focused. So you can use a one page for lots of reasons. Here are the reasons. We've already talked about them. I've helped people write them when they're interviewing providers, when they're starting a new school year, for appointments, camp staff. The possibilities are endless. So we're not going to go into breakout rooms, but we do have a poll, and I'm going to ask Tracy to launch it. I want you to think about, in the next couple weeks, think about who you work with, think about who you love, think about who you care about. How might you use a one page? And I want you to be realistic. One pages can be used as introductions. I've had people tell me, when the employer says, tell me a little bit about yourself, they will actually hand over their one page, and then they have it written, so they don't feel like, oh, I got to answer a question. They're prepared. It helps with self-esteem. I cannot tell you how much it helps with self-esteem when people can talk about who they really are, and it helps with accommodations. So medical appointments, yes, new grade in class, employment. Absolutely. I love it. Oh, I
Jill
love
wrote
it.
adult day service in the
Yes.
chat as one of her others. Great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much. So we did the poll. Sorry about that. And just to remind you, we always talk about the person in the context of their family, talking about the 6 domains, their quality of life, the supports they need that are integrated, the integrated star, and to have a vision across your life. And think about the 1 page. Your vision is that people know how to support your loved one or the people that you support. And some things that are coming up. We're doing a 3-hour overview later this week. If anybody could benefit from that, we are doing a series only for families, not only, targeted to families, no CEUs, where we're going to actually have them start using the tools and give them time to start writing them. We're doing another overview in June. It's open to anybody. It's free. And a community of practice in July where we ask people to share what they're doing. If you are part of an organization, SSAs, a county board, a school, we also provide guided implementation because people say, we heard it, it's great, but how do I start? So the guided implementation actually helps you integrate it in your practice and then learn with others. So you actually have homework, you use the tools. We thank you for joining us. Couple of resources, websites, and then as you leave, if you could type in chat what you appreciated about the hour today. Ooh, it's 10 o'clock. If you have the time, we'd love to hear what you liked about it. And as you leave, when you type leave or when you click on leave, a quick survey will pop up. We appreciate you responding. The survey and the poll questions help us gather data for our grant. So we truly appreciate your feedback. It helps us keep these free so that we can share information. I appreciate all of you, your attention on a Monday and your participation. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
We'll wait for a minute because I see some of you are typing in chat. That's great. Yeah, yes. I hope, hi, Kathy. It's user-friendly, absolutely. Oh, good. Real world examples. Oh, I'm so glad. Yes. Oh, good. And you have the examples in the PowerPoint. I didn't want to read them to you. We just tried to pull the highlights and the impact. So great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for staying 2 minutes over. Oh, good, Laura. I'm so glad you're going to be using it. Very good. I'm so glad. Oh, good. Awesome. Oh, awesome. Great to use it with your family. Oh my gosh, Trisha.
What a great
what a
idea,
great
Trisha.
what a
Yeah.
great idea. That is so awesome. Good to see you, Trisha. Thank you, everybody. Tracy, will you send me the chat? I
I
couldn't.
most certainly will.
Just couldn't.
No worries. It was great.
Thank you. This was awesome. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye all. Thank you.